All right, Bob Beeler in for Prater on the ball game. This is Idaho Sports Talk. I'm Johnny Ball Game here, and glad to have you with us on this Friday. 5:03. You're in your rig. You're headed down I-84. You got a weekend ahead of you, and you're thinking, Bob Beeler, 3 weeks from tomorrow, Boise State will be in Statesboro, Georgia, against Georgia Southern. Beeler, holy smokes, man, 3 weeks. Holy smokes, literally. I hate that I say that outside, but, man, 3 weeks from tomorrow.
It's getting there, and practice has been going on for a little more than a week now, and I think everybody, good vibes coming out of it, a lot more depth, it appears, a lot of talent back, a lot of expectations, too.
Anybody got a question? 208-424-9300 on this fall camp on for Bob Beeler or myself. We have our Double Tap Pub hotline, JP. Open that sucker up from 5 to 5:30 today. We'll also talk about this hour, Bob. Boise State former players trying to make NFL rosters, or some that already pretty much set with their NFL roster. Like, every one of them is playing this weekend. JP's going to give us the lowdown on the NFL schedule and where to find Boise State players playing in it. That's going to be good this year.
Well,
you have anyone that kind of sticks out for you? Like, ooh, I want to see that guy playing preseason games.
I want to see Brett Rippon. I got the numbers from last week's game. Didn't get to the restaurant in time to see the game because I guess they canceled it in the third quarter because of lightning at Canton. But the numbers, 3 touchdowns, and he threw the ball well last week for the Bears.
So. It's like all those games you called. Brett Rippon. I was thinking this too when I was watching that game. I'm thinking, you know what? I bet the last time Brett Rippon ever threw 3 touchdowns in a game, Bob Beeler called it.
Probably.
Unless it was another NFL preseason game, because I know he hasn't done it in an NFL game. But anyway, some fun stuff. I talked with Prince Strachan today at the Blameyer. Bob talked with Mason Randolph. So we thought we'd get offensive with this offense today at 5 o'clock on Prater on the ball game. Bob, I'm going to start. And I'm going to start with Prince Strachan. And I asked Prince because he came in about the same time as Maddux Madsen. It's weird how players, one day you show up and they're the old guys. They've always been young, right? And anyway, here's Boise State wide receiver Prince Strachan getting ready for the big scrimmage tomorrow, talking about his relationship with Boise State quarterback Maddux Madsen.
Mad Dog's my guy. He obviously, when I came in, a year and a half ago, it was really that spring. It's really me and Mad Dog since day one. So, and Mad Dog, he works extremely hard off the field. And you see it on the field too every day in practice. You see he goes out there. He's a great leader. He executes what he needs to execute, and our relationship is just that we both love each other, and we kind of went to work this off season, whether it's getting extra throws and stuff like that. And he really loves his team, and I've seen tremendous growth in leadership or throwing, or you know what I'm saying, just being comfortable out there.
First of all, listening to that, Johnny, one thing always strikes me when you ask players about another player. They always give you a much better, more thoughtful answer than if you ask them about themselves. They are much more willing to go to things about somebody else than themselves. So I love questions like that. Thought it was a great question by you because you're always going to get a good response.
You know what's go for it, Bob.
I was going to say, but he's one of my candidates this year for most improved player from last year. Last year, 12 catches, did nice on the yardage, averaged about 23 yards a catch. Had a couple of games where he kind of, asserted himself. But a lot of games he didn't play a whole lot, wasn't on the field, especially early. I am really looking forward to him this year. And, if he feels like he's on a wavelength with a quarterback, if they've spent a lot of time, that may bode well for him getting more catches. He got yardage when he had catches last year.
What do you guys?
He only had 12 catches.
What do you guys think? Prince Strachan, how pumped are you for the year he's going to have? Is it going to be this year? Or are you going to have to wait another year maybe for Prince to pop? Hard to believe he's just a true sophomore right now. He looks just magnificent physically. And Bob, you've seen this a lot, and I have too. A lot of times when you're a young nobody, not getting a rep anywhere, just standing there in line, waiting for a time where you can show what you can do. A lot of times you're not going to get that rep. You're going to have to do it on your own. And Prince Strachan and Mad Dog, when they were the two little nobodies, right? Worked out together, worked hard together, completed passes together, got their work in. And now all of a sudden they might be both starting on this team. That's where the relationship comes from. Like he said, me and Mad Dog go back to when I first got here. Mad Dog was probably the only guy far enough down on the depth chart that was willing to throw a couple passes to a receiver who just showed up from the Bahamas, right? Great stuff there with Prince Strachan. I also wanted this question too. The receivers go against the DBs darn near every single day. If you want to know how good a DB is, ask a wide receiver. Prince Strachan, how good are the DBs this year?
Our coach stressed that we go up against the best competition here. So I just feel like it did definitely took tremendous growth just by like the summer or just working. It was a great spring too. Like he was very competitive in the spring too. And now I can tell where they have grown. Mario McCoy, Jeremiah, Deontay, all those guys, they have really grown. And I've seen I have to always go out there on my P's and Q's, step up my game.
I think the corner position, and he's talking about the corners there, I think the corner position may be the most improved position
Needs to be
this year. McCoy came on as the year went along, not unheard of. A lot of times junior college players, it takes them a little bit of time. They usually don't have that red shirt ability. So, they get better as a junior year, then they pop for the real big last year, the senior year. And I think that's going to happen with him. And then you got a couple transfers. Everybody knows about Irby. He looked really good in the spring last year. I saw the first practice and I saw today's. I think Banks from Washington is going to be pretty good.
I do too. I love the corners and I love the safeties. And I know the numbers from last year. And I know most of the guys last year are back with the exception of a couple. But I'm with a lot of these guys. I think the DBs are going to be better this year. And yes, whether it's Chris Peterson or Prince Strachan, everybody wants to get down with Mad Dog, man. That's what I'm learning this week as well. Bob, you caught up with center and a very important player, Mason Randolph.
Yeah, 6'4", 309 pounds, third year started 10 games as a freshman. Last year started 11, missed a couple games because of injury, played 8 at center, 3 at left guard, versatile, knows positions. I think he's the captain of that offensive line, and I love it when my center is maybe my most cerebral, the guy that knows all what's going on. He's in the middle. He's making the blocking calls. They've got a lot of good linemen, but I just think that he is a guy that is just so steady, and a group that's got 4 starters back from last year, other guys that have started some games and have been in there. But I decided to start off with, I wasn't going to ask him about the offensive line. I'd ask him about Ashton Jeanty. He opens holes for Ashton Jeanty. So where has he seen Ashton Jeanty improve the most?
I think it's just the patience and the understanding of where each ball is going to hit, because over the summer, me and him had a couple meetings because he wanted to understand what our thought process was of where the ball was going to hit on certain plays and how we were blocking it differently just because of certain pressures and stuff like that.
There's a play last year, Bob, it's with Ashton Jeanty and Mason Randolph, and it was on the sideline, and it was the San Diego State game. And there's this play where those two were like hugging after a big Jeanty run. And I remember I never forgot that. It looked like Ashton Jeanty and Mason Randolph were really, really close when they were hugging and celebrating there. And again, I've talked to linemen too on this team. Like, they are on a mission to block for this dude. They don't want, they realize Jeanty's superpowers, and they say as an offensive line, we need to enhance this. We can't be, oh, Jeanty's a great back, but his line sucks, right? How many times have we said that about a running back in the NFL or whatever? Oh, great back. I just don't like his offensive line. They don't want that to be what you say when you talk about Ashton Jeanty. And I'll tell you this, unless it gets ravaged with injuries, it won't. This will be a good offensive line. I haven't had a chance to talk to Mason yet, Bob, but I'm looking forward to some other things that he had to say. It
wasn't the clip that was picked, but I asked him, I said, as players get older, they say they see more things pre-snap. I said, Jeanty had quite a few 50-plus yard runs this past year. I said, when he's going to pop one, can you kind of see it before it happens based on, where the other team is aligned? And he kind of smiled, kind of nodded like, yeah, there are some times when you just look at how they're aligned and you realize how you've got your blocking going that, boy, this one looks like is very favorable. So that's something that I think the line really, really likes to take advantage of. So maybe the most important thing, you got the scrimmage coming up tomorrow. You got a couple more scrimmages. First game, August 31st, 3 weeks from tomorrow at Georgia Southern. I asked him where he thought the offensive line needed to improve the most between now and then.
I think the biggest thing for us right now is building our depth. Tyler Kenneth is in there, and he's doing a great job. I think all three centers that we have right now, with Jason and Zach and myself, I think Jason and Zach are doing a phenomenal job. They're really smart kids. They're really getting after it. And I think the biggest thing for us is building that tackle depth and all that stuff too.
So how much better are you guys now up front than you were last year?
I think it's just the cohesivity of it all. Like, we've all known each other for so many years, and we've played together now finally for a year now. And especially me and Ben have been playing for a while. It's gonna be good. We feel great right now.
Cohesivity. Mason Randolph, he's reading books without pictures. I mean, most guys would have said, and I'm with them, either cohesiveness or cohesive wise. Cohesive wise, he just goes cohesivity. Like, he just knows that the word extends there. I like Mason Randolph. And Bob, where does the line need to improve the most between now and Georgia Southern? That's a really good question. I'll tell you this, Bob. That team is 1-0, Boise State, if the line plays well in Statesboro. Yeah. And I think you'd sign off on that, too. If the line has a spectacular day, I don't think Georgia Southern can win this game.
No, I mean, because if the line plays well, that means you're opening things up for the running backs.
Yes.
And you're protecting whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah, unless the defense is going to give up a 60 burger.
No, they're not.
Hell no.
They're not. I mean, football's a simple game. If I'm in your backfield all game and you can't do anything, I'm going to win. And if you keep me out of your backfield on the offensive side, you're going to win, right? I mean,
that's true.
It's simple. Block and tackle.
It is.
And don't turn the ball over, right?
JP, are you writing this down?
I mean, it's not that complicated.
Seriously, life lessons, football 101. I love it with Bob Beeler. Bob,
well, I mean, things are complex with the systems and how you shift in motion, but really it comes down to, if you block, if you tackle, if you don't commit penalties, if you don't turn the ball over.
Gosh, you've hung out with a lot of coaches, Bob Beeler. I love it, man. Let's check in on the NFL. Preseason week 1. Where is that former Boise State football player playing this weekend? Beeler's in for Prater. We're Prater on the ball game here on KTIK, The Ticket. Don't forget to download the KTIK app and listen to Idaho Sports Talk, or you can watch this video segment we're airing right now on our app, powered by Axiom Fitness. They're giving away 7-day free memberships right now if you go to axiomfitness.com. So yeah, great stuff. Check out that video thing. And as JP always asks me to do, beg the listeners to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If we get 5 of them, JP's going to go home and take his clothes off and do a dance. Let's see if we can get him to do that on Idaho Sports Talk.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket